Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, good afternoon, learners, and welcome to this second session for the course on the psychology of language. Now, in the first session, we had some interesting questions related to this course, as well as some other interesting questions related to the field of language psychology. And I hope in this session too, we'll have a very lively interaction with all of you learners who are out there. This session and sessions like this, which is the NPTEL massive open online course funded by the Government of India holds, is an interaction program between the learners and the teachers or subject matter experts. This gives opportunity for a one-to-one interaction between people who learn and people who teach. So this session will follow along the same guidelines. I urge you to ask questions related to this course and other questions also, if you have any related to the field of language psychology. This is not a linguistic course, so we'll focus on language from the viewpoint of psychology, and any question related to that viewpoint or pertaining to the psychological aspect of language is welcome. So all those learners who are here with me today or listening to me today through this online session can put in questions. There are three ways in which you can put in a question to me. The first is through this team meeting that we are holding. So you can ask a question here through the chat box in the Microsoft team. You can put in a question at the YouTube chat box where I'm live right now. So you can put in a question there. I'll read those questions and I'll try to answer those questions for you. Or you can put in a question at the Excel sheet, the online Excel sheet, which was forwarded for you to put in questions or to ask questions. So these are three ways in which you can communicate your questions, suggestions, feedbacks, point of views regarding the course. And these suggestions, feedbacks, and questions will help me in establishing the course in a more comprehensive and better way. So I welcome you all, whoever is listening to me right now, to ask questions related to the field of language psychology. If you want me to help you or provide you some kind of a guidance related to your maybe dissertation or some other topic of research that you're doing, that is also welcome. Another thing that I wish to point out here is that if you're not available today or for this meeting, you can still send me questions which you have through an email or post those questions into the discussion forum of this course. We will address these questions for you, and a question sent to me, I'll address those questions as and when I get time to answer your questions. So with these thoughts, I welcome you all to this online session, and I urge you again to ask questions related to the course material as well as the field of language psychology. The medium of instruction or the medium of asking questions need not necessarily be English. I'm perfectly comfortable with Hindi as well. So if you feel like asking questions in Hindi or want a reply in Hindi, I'll be perfectly okay in answering those questions to you in your language of choice. So viewers and listeners, whoever are here, please put in your questions or start asking your questions. And since I don't have a question right now on either the YouTube chat, the online YouTube chat, or the team meeting that we are having, I'll switch on to the question which has been asked to me on the online Excel forum or through the online Excel forum. Let me take that question for you and try to answer it. Now the question has been asked by Sai Sham, who's a student. So hello Sai Sham, and the question is that what is the type of questions will be asked in the exam? So the answer to that question is you will have multiple choice questions, 15 number, that will be asked to you in the main exam for this course. So that is the only question which I have on this Excel sheet. Beside this, I don't have a question right now, neither in the YouTube online chat nor on the chat box of this team meeting. So I'll wait for you for another 15-20 minutes where you will be having this opportunity to ask me questions. But if I don't have a question, if I don't find too many people joining in and asking questions, I will have to wind up this session. Although this session is for 1 hour, so within this 1 hour, you are free to ask your doubts and questions. As I said before, if you don't have questions, or if you, because of some reason, cannot join us today, you can still ask these questions to me by writing an email or posting it onto the forum, and I'll answer those questions there. So for the next 5-10 minutes, I will start talking about what the course is like, which you will be very familiar if you are part of this course. But I'll also take those 5 or 10 minutes as a waiting time for you to join and ask questions. And if you do not join in, or if too many people do not join in, then I'll be forced to close this session for today. because then it will be me speaking all along and nobody listening in or asking questions. And so I'll wait for another 10 minutes. So let's start by first looking at what the course is like. The course on psychology of language is built around the concept that language is a medium of information exchange between people or human beings. So the course gets divided into two parts. The first part of the course comprises of some basic processes related to language, and the second part of the course relates to some advanced processes. We start with first understanding what is language, the history of it, and a little bit as to what is the difference between language and communication. We also look at different forms of language, what is the benefit of language, and what should be the characteristic of a language. This is the introductory part. And then we moved on to the basic processes in language. I started by first looking at research in language. So how do I design a research in language? And then further on, I started teaching about the perception of speech and the production of speech. How is speech or vocal language is produced? And the next section deals with when produced, how are they understood and interpreted? These are the two sections. Included with it, the idea about how research is done in language studies from the psychological point of view comprises the basic processes or the basic section of this course. The advanced section or those sections, chapters, units which comprises the advanced section of this course comprise of understanding what are words, what is the meaning of a word. Then we understand something about what are sentences, what is a grammar, how does syntax or syntactic rules define language or is used in language. We also look at semantics and pragmatics, meaning what is the meaning of a particular language, and then how a language should be used, rules of using a language. And further on, at the end of this point, we look at something called issues like bilingualism. For example, how people use two different languages, or how people switch between two languages, or master the art of learning two different languages. So we start by first understanding what language is all about, how it is produced, and how it is understood, irrelevant of what a specific language is. Then we look at the basic structure of a language, for example, words, starting with, in fact, we start with what a phoneme is and what a morpheme is. So the structure of a language, the hierarchical structure of a language. And from there on, we build up to where a word is and what do words do and what do they signify. Then we move on to describing how these words combine together using certain rules to form sentences. And what does the sentence do, or how do they convey meaning? That is the next section. From there on, we look at how these meanings are interpreted, the interpretation of meanings. And at the end of it, we look at an interesting proposal, as in how people develop two languages and then use these two languages effectively. So this is a very brief introduction of what this course is all about and what the course actually teaches you. So in very few words, when you do this course, what you learn is what is a language and what are the constituents of a language. Not only that, you also learn why is language necessary, right? And what purpose does it solve? Also, things like how written languages are different from spoken languages. What are the different type of scripts which are used for written languages? And how the one-to-one relationship is established between written languages and spoken languages. Not only that, we also understand the motives behind people in speaking languages and writing languages. Okay? So all in all, we look at those psychological aspects or those psychological reasons why people invented language. Not only they invented language, they invented rules of this language. And with the advent of language, how are they using it and what benefit does a language give to human beings that other primates don't have? So this kind of a structure or this kind of paradigm is what we study in this course on psychology of language. Now, I don't see any other question which is put to me, and I also don't see other people who have joined this course. So no questions up till now, and neither on this YouTube session nor on this session, the team session that we are having. So I'll wait for another 2 or 3 minutes. And if I don't find people joining in, what I'll do is I'll wrap up the session for today. But don't worry, you will have your opportunities to ask questions to me. As I said, the two other way, beside this online interaction that you can ask questions to me is through a direct email, which can be sent to my inbox at IIT Guwahati, or you can put in a question at the discussion forum and I can pick the questions from there and answer those questions for you. So if you are around, if you're listening, do ask your questions, send in your feedback, send in your suggestions. And these suggestions and feedbacks will help me in relooking the course or redeveloping the course or reassessing what other efforts need to be done in order to help people learn this course in an efficient way. Because when you put in suggestions, these suggestions guide me to relook and redevelop or modify the course so that it becomes more efficient. The course becomes more efficient for you in terms of learning. So as I don't see anyone joining in this course on this live session, I believe I'll have to wrap this session up. in the first 20. Okay, so I have another one question. Let me take this. And this is by Arunita. So Arunita, thank you for your question. And there will only be objective questions in this particular course. So Arunita has a question. That is what I'm answering. So you will only have objective questions. These are 15 number. Each question will compose of 2 marks. That makes it 100 marks question paper. If you follow the lectures and if you do your assignment diligently and work out your solutions of the assignment, you tend to have a higher chance of getting good marks in this particular course and perhaps get a gold certificate or a silver certificate. So my suggestion would be to look at the assignments properly. Even if you have submitted a wrong answer and you come to know the right answer, because the assignment sheet will tell you about the right answer. Learn it, ask yourself why this is the right answer. And if you don't figure it out, send it to us or send it to me through the forum. I'll explain it to you. And if you do a little bit of effort and read these assignments properly and the lectures, video lectures, you will have very good marks or you will score good marks in your upcoming exam. So that is the answer which I have for you. Other people who are here with me, I also urge them to ask questions if you have regarding this course. If not, I'll wait for another 3-4 minutes and then I'll have to sign off because people have not turned up. But anyways, as I said, you can always write in a question and send it to me through the email or on the forum and I'll answer those questions for you. Right? So people who are here with me today, please ask your questions. And with the knowledge that I have about the subject, I'll try to answer the question for you in the best possible manner. So that is what I have for you. I'm still waiting for people to join in and ask questions. If you don't have questions, you can also send in your feedbacks or talk about your experiences about this course in this online session. That should perfectly be okay. But remember that this online session is a great opportunity for the subject matter expert and the learners to interact one-on-one and address issues related to learning about this course. So go ahead, ask your questions. I'm still here to take up your questions and provide answers to you for whatever questions you have regarding this course on psychology of language. So suggestions, questions, feedback, anything if you have, please go ahead. Ask your questions. I'm here for you to answer your questions. You can ask a question on the YouTube chat box or this team chat box or putting a question directly to me through this Excel sheet which has been circulated for you to ask questions. So learners and viewers, whoever is watching or is with me on this live session, so okay, Aranita. So practical exercises. What could be the best exercise to deepen your knowledge on understanding the psychology of language? The best exercise would be use language. If you could use language, and not only use language, but also think, why are you using a certain language, or why are you using a certain way of expression? This could be the best exercise for learning about the psychology of language. Psychology is about behavior, human behavior, and language is about communication or sharing of information. So how sharing of information is related to human behavior, or how people share information related to why people have behaved in a certain way, or how they think of behaving in a certain way. If that could be understood, or that couldn't be thought upon, that could be the best exercise for learning the psychology of language, right? So whenever somebody speaks to you in a certain manner, or somebody expresses certain things to you, think about what does he want to say, or what could be the meaning of it, why certain words were used, that kind of a thing. That's related to the use of language. Also, why certain sentences are framed in such and such way. What is the most optimal way of conveying information? If you think about these, if you think about your everyday use of language and start analyzing this would be the best way to learn this field or deepen your not only your interest, but also your understanding of the psychology of language. Right, so I think that should answer your questions or question. If other people are also here who are with me and would like to ask a question, please go ahead. 30 minutes past the hour, and I don't see many people who have joined, just one person. So optimizing things for today, I'll have to discontinue this session or wrap up this session for today. Don't worry, all those people who are not here with me today, please can send in a question to my email or to the forum. So wishing you all the best for your upcoming examination. Thank you, Arnita. So wishing you all the best for your upcoming examination. I'm signing off from this MOOC studio for today's session. This is the last session. So all the best and thank you and goodbye.